May this prayer of gratitude to Creator of all that is and to all beings of light and love be heard. We are the people who have, by intention and contract with you, chosen to run this course, this lifetime, to our shared goal, freeing the people all from the yoke of slavery that has bound us from the beginning. Monumental does not capture the task we and our fellow people worldwide are accomplishing today and every day. The ugly, dark secrets are being revealed by the bright light of truth and the sheer fortitude of each of us and all of us together. When we see, we cannot unsee. When we are moved to action from that which we have seen, we are a force to reckon with, and we will not stop. So here now, let us gather all the wisdom, learning, knowledge, and strength to take this victory to its perfect end of freedom for all, where we are not the ruled, but the beautiful free souls created by your image, in your image, and with your heart to manifest a more divine and inspiring life for all, and with your grace. So be it, and so it is.
Thank you, Charlie. My name is Ron Vroman. I'm the old white man talking head for the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. I have something I'd like to say. I'm going to read it so I'll get it right. This is from my perspective. So, this is the reality that is most important to me. Freedom is about me, the individual that has all the authority. Each one of us is that individual. Let's flesh that out. Mindset. What is that? It's yours. You should know what it is. Most people are persons and have never had the thoughts that the members of the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly have. We will not acquiesce to evil, nor the lesser of two evils, nor will we accept de facto incorporated governance. Then we put those thoughts into action. That's the difference. Who are you? Can you even think a thought through that destroys your whole perspective? Finding out that your perception was false based on a fraud. Not only that, but everything you examined since turns out to be a lie. The greatest mark of my intelligence is how closely I agree with you. Just like I heard Jordan B. Peterson speaking psychology, lucid thought, so clear you knew it was true. All over the world, 100 cities, from Canada to Sweden to Oxford to New Zealand and many places in between. These are 1 hour live, unscripted, one man shows on the stage speaking truth at the deepest levels. Then this same brilliant man takes the jab to get Canada to act properly. Then Jordan B. Peterson, PhD, found you cannot treaty with the tyrant. The greatest mark of your intelligence is how closely you agree with me. You cannot do it alone, but no one can do it for you. You must do it yourself for yourself. You must be able to stand for yourself in your own name, then name good from evil and divide de jure from de facto. Stand up for your responsibilities. As a man or a woman with their kids on the land and soil of your state, without ruler and without subject, a sovereign. Most sheriffs are persons, or all sheriffs are persons, and they like it in the de facto. Go along to get along, and they do not give, pardon me, and they do give a little here and a little there. It is for the greater good. And pretty soon they are so corrupted that they do not want to have it shoved in their face. Some of them are so self deluded, they think they are holding the line, one of the good guys. All cops know who the bad cops are. If you speak up or stand up, you get no backup. Therefore, they all close ranks with the thin blue line around the bad cops. There are no good cops, only those that wish they were good. Misprison of felony. That is the mindset to be a man or a woman born free on one of the several states or territories of the United States of America. Okay, so you say, what documentation is needed to prove that declaration? The answer is living testimony in the form of an affidavit of truth, signed by you in red, with your name printed in blue and the date in blue, and with the right thumbprint in red. The two witnesses with the same status, standing, and jurisdiction sign and thumbprint. Now you have a document. We have those filed papers, and the FBI, DOJ, USMS, USMC have all acquiesced 3 times. The state of Oregon, aka all caps state of Oregon, the executive, legislative, and the judicial, 36 county sheriffs, 38 prosecutors on Oregon, all acquiesced 3 times to our state of Oregon, pardon me, to our Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly is also, or is the same as, Article 1, Section 1 of Oregon's Constitution. And that reads, we declare that all men, when they form a social compact, are equal in right, that all power is inherent in the people, and all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted for their peace, safety, and happiness. And they have at all times a right to alter, reform, or abolish the government in such manner as they may think proper. That's pretty solid. That's written well. Article 1, Section 1. It's not Article 2, Section 8. In our Jural Assembly, every one of the several hundred jurors has filed that document with the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. We started with 6. Our Article 1, Section 1 Assembly, with a civilian court of record, will verify your jurisdiction with a claim of cognizance from our civilian court of record, whoever may need it. But not to be filed into the de facto incorporated color of law governance in Washington District of Columbia or in one of its subdivisions, such as the state of Oregon or all caps state of Oregon. That is not a constitutional Republican form of government. We are no longer deceived. We are removing the de facto on Oregon and returning to a constitutional Republican form of government this year, 2022. Now, explain that mindset to a sheriff that thinks he's one of the good guys. Richard Mack, former Arizona sheriff, selling Constitutional Sheriffs and Police Officers Association. Many sheriffs think he is a threat to them. They like being de facto cops. There's a bunch of them. Pat Garrett's one of them, Washington County Sheriff. So let's talk about that. Where does our sheriff stand? Where do you find him on? Writing traffic tickets and concealed carry permits? Violating people's rights by the de facto Salem oligarchy, county commissioners, mayors, and that ilk, such as put on a mask, separate and distance, get tested and vaxxed. Where in the hell did the Fourth Amendment go? Compare the number of burials anywhere over the last few years, month by month. Those facts are available and not through any government entity that's going to be changing them. There's just a certain number of people that are cremated in a crematorium, and they keep track of those numbers. So you find out how many have they done a month for the last 3 years. And do you see a big climb? Do you see a hockey stick? Then there's only so many grave sites dug. Those are paid for items. Every cemetery keeps records of that. And it's over years, and you can see it month by month. And those are records that you can get that you don't have to go to a government agency to get. They are killing us, and they are identified. They are known as the de facto, with a bogus oath to a bogus constitution. Any Oregon employee that is required to take an oath and have a bond or risk management has taken a false oath to a fraudulent document. I think most of them are completely aware that they are incorporated governance in color of law, and we, not of their fraud upon the people, are just cash cows. They are thinning the herd. The Georgia Guidestones are gone, but what they wrote reduced the population to 500 million from 7 or 8 billion. That's still the plan. Unless they self-correct this year, 2022, we will bring them and their deeds before our grand jury and Article 3, Amendment 7, Civilian Court of Record. Now, please go to DuckDuckGo and type in Athens, Tennessee, 1947, and you'll see how they resolved their problem. And we have similar issues. There's a couple of people on here with me. If they have anything to say, I'd sure like to hear it from them.
Thank you. I love it. I'm trying to work with you. I'm doing it every day. It's tough. Thanks.
You're welcome. Do you have any comments, though?
It's good. Your statement was pretty It was very articulate, comprehensive. There were a couple of places that I thought maybe you could have put it on the end. I mean, at the end, because it came up to a climax and then you kept going. But it was a really great read, and I want to thank you for that.
You're welcome. Do you have any ideas on what we can do with these sheriffs? For an example, many of
Yes,
these sheriffs, good, let me say the problem. Many of these sheriffs think that they can do pretty much as they please because they've been elected and they're working for the people, but they're not. And they think that they're bulletproof because the only way to get them out of office is to have a recall. And that's just about impossible. How many times did they try it on Kate? And Kate is roundly detested, but they couldn't get it together. I think it was 3 times they tried, 3 different efforts, and each one failed. But I think if you have incontrovertible evidence that the sheriff has broken his oath and he has no honor, he cannot hold a position of trust. So now, if a court hears the evidence and makes a verdict and he has no honor, then he must be removed from office. And you don't have to get a recall or anything else. And I yield.
Okay, in regard to elections, when you are electing anyone in the state of Oregon, the de facto state, and that's where these sheriffs come from, we have these election pamphlets, these bulletins that tell us who is your candidate. And they have sections where people can comment. And we, the statewide Jural Assembly, need to come up with our statement about sheriffs to put in every elections bulletin or pamphlet, so that people who are participating in these fraudulent, and let me add this, they're fraudulent because the people are, you have, in order to register to vote, you have to swear under penalty of perjury that you are a, quote, U.S. citizen, close quote, rather than an American or an Oregonian. And the people that we get to vote for are no less. They're U.S. citizens. U.S. citizens are lower class. They're a group of people initially. U.S. citizens were plantation property of plantations, the people that were corralled like property and made coerced to work. And we commonly know them as slaves. That's who the United States of America, Congress, and this is fraudulent already, and they were probably thinking about the United States or incorporating as a club. They said, these people don't have enough experience in governing themselves. They've never done it. Well, that's probably very far from reality, because all people everywhere took care of themselves, and especially the people from out in the woods like Africa. So they said, so we're going to be their guardians, and we will give them status as, quote, U.S. citizens. And that was the first group of people ever to be known as U.S. citizens. And
14th Amendment.
That's right. That's right. The 14th Amendment was put in after that, after the slaves were declared to be U.S. citizens. And so we need to wake up those people who are defrauded at elections into thinking they're U.S. citizens. We need to put that all into a voter pamphlet. And and all we have to do is file it with the Secretary of State, and then it gets passed around and put into the bulletin. We don't have to waste our time trying to talk. Well, it's not a waste of time trying to talk to everybody. It's essential, actually. But sometimes you run into severe problems when you do that. I was threatened last night, and it could lead to injury or worse when you do that. And by writing something for the voters pamphlet, you avoid all that, so you can do what's important on a day-to-day basis. So that's my suggestion as to what to do about the upcoming election.
What's the deadlines on that voter pamphlet?
Pardon?
What is the deadline for the voter pamphlet for this upcoming election?
I don't know.
I'll email
Call
Cheryl.
away. Yeah.
If we can
call
get
away.
something in there, we should probably do that. That's a good idea. But I'd also like to remind everybody that there never has been one government change from authoritarian to freedom by election. As far as my history shows, it's always been by the end of a gun. Not trying to promote violence, but you cannot get rid of communist, socialist governments by voting people that you think are better into that office. I think that, educating people through the voter pamphlet, because they'll have their eyes on that, is a good idea. The other way would be to try to make sure that everybody that we can touch does not use the services of these said office holders, or whatever we're going to call them. I'm trying to be nice. Because every time you have some kind of dispute with your neighbor or relative or whatever, does not constitute a 911 call. People should learn how to control themselves and to deal with their own problems within their own walls or borders of their property, and not calling in a third party to take care of the problem. I don't think armed third party is a good idea for most cases. I rest.
Yeah, I think it should be an armed first party.
There.
That'll resolve a lot of things.
It does.
Armed
When you went into the Old West, and I've seen the movies for sure, if you had a sidearm and you went into a bar, they most likely left you alone.
Yeah, if you paid attention. I'm sorry, Richard said something and I didn't get it.
Each person needs to be armed, is what I said. Each.
Okay.
Not the first person, or like you said.
People?
Each person.
These people?
Yeah,
I
the people.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I hate that person word thing.
Well,
Each people.
they should.
So let me clarify. Let me clarify the thing about person. Person actually is a mask from the old ancient Greek, from 3,000 years ago. It meant the character that an actor portrays in a play, right? It's a mask. the thing that they hold over their face to indicate who they're playing at the moment. But it could be that which most of us look like as well when we're talking about. So person is a legitimate term when you're talking about something with an adjective, a descriptive term in front of it, like a red person, like a happy person, like a poor person, like. And so when you put an adjective in front of person, and I said each, which would mean the people, that circumvents, gets around the use of the word as employed by the Oregon Revised Statutes at ORS 174.100, subsection 6 or 7 now.
I got a point. Wait, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm done.
I think that's the wrong way to go about it.
Okay.
The Oregon Revised Statutes should never have put the word person in with corporations and limited liability corporations, because persons is first person singular of people. And they took a word away from our vocabulary and put it into their Oregon Revised Statutes and defrauded us. I think the problem is with the Oregon Revised Statutes, not with the use of the word as it's supposed to be, first person singular of people. I yield.
Yeah, we're all taught in elementary school, right?
Yeah.
You have to go back further than the beginnings of the Oregon Revised Statutes. You have to go back to the federal, because person in the federal language, in the federal lawmakers' language, has been a mask for a long time prior to the Oregon Constitution or the Oregon Revised Statutes. So you have to go back, and it's not that fun. There's no use doing it. It's just a matter of becoming aware of what person can or should mean rather than what it means.
Yeah, exactly. I think this could be a speed bump in our road here to takes us in the wrong direction. We know what we want. They know what we want. They know that they are illegitimate for their offices because of their oath taking and their actions, and they need to get out of their offices, and they know who they are. We've sent them notices.
I want to ask Ron about Elizabeth Steiner Hayward. Did you ever find out where she lives in your city?
Say the name again. I got Hayward.
Elizabeth Steiner Hayward.
No, nothing's ringing a bell.
Okay. Well, she's the chair of the de facto Ways and Means Committee in Salem.
Oh, then she's already a convicted criminal.
Yes, she is.
I don't
But
deal with
might,
I don't deal with them.
and she's twice convicted because she works for the University of Health Sciences University, Oregon Health Sciences University, and you convicted them too. So
Yes.
she's twice convicted, but
Yes.
she's also probably an individual who's been subjected to brainwashing, and that may have played a part in her convictions. And she needs an opportunity. Everybody needs an opportunity to come around to do something different than what we've been convicted of. We need to be able to ask for forgiveness. We need to be able to demonstrate good faith.
Self-correct.
There is evidence that might be on our agenda. Self-correction. I just want to know, she lives somewhere in your neighborhood. That's all.
No, she's not entitled to self-correction. She had all kinds of opportunities for that, and she wasted them all and acquiesced. She's been found guilty, and the verdict's been passed, just like 89 of the legislators.
Okay, well, that calls for a pretty major and intense discussion, but I don't think we're doing that today.
Why would that why would that be an intense conversation? They held the legislature in a building and we were locked out. They broke their oath, they have no honor, and they cannot hold a position of trust, period.
I understand that.
Well, then what's there to discuss?
That's not the discussion.
What is?
The discussion is when the de facto is found guilty of screwing the people, and everybody around us, all of the, you said there are several hundred of us in the statewide Jural Assembly. Well,
yeah.
What's the balance? What's the balance of the population doing? So we have to think about who they look to for guidance. We have to think about who they give their money to as a token of their what? Being defrauded. They're a token of their slavery, a token of their efforts to comply, right? And the legislators, the de facto legislators, are so influential over that huge group of people. And that's why we need to have an intense conversation, is because they have so much influence over so many people.
Yeah, but that huge group of people that all donate $5 or $10 or whatever.
Oh, they donate a hell of a lot more than that.
We're talking about people. And then
yeah.
you get to a political action committee such as Timber Unity or some other, and that group has millions of dollars to spend. And the political action committee is maybe 5 or 6 people on a board, and they make the decisions. So all of those people that are being influenced by the legislator is being influenced by the PAC. And the PAC's got to go away. The PAC cannot vote. Voting should be in person with a paper ballot and counted in person on a paper ballot. That's it. No computers involved.
Remember the conversation we had last night about the years when the laws were passed being at the bottom of every section of the Oregon Revised Statutes?
Yep.
Okay. That can be an indication that it's not merely the PACs. The PACs are people, and they come from places or from organizations or corporate entities to run those PACs. And in order to find them, you go to the chief sponsor, you go to of any bill, or you go to those who testified in favor of the bill. You go to their employers, You go to the employers of the lobbyists who testified in favor of the bill. You go to the shareholders of the corporation that sent the lobbyist or influenced the PAC that got the elected official in office. You have to go back and back. You have to turn over. I mean, there's so much work to be done.
I see it entirely different, Richard.
Oh, good. Tell me how you see it.
PACs can't vote. Therefore, do away with PACs. PACs are designed so that people can donate money and get a tax deduction. That's what a PAC is designed for. Collect money, and everybody that donates gets a tax deduction.
It also enables people to be anonymous and to pretend like they've actually done something for whatever effort, whatever subject it is.
Yeah. Do away with PACs. People vote. People donate. Nobody else. Stand for election. Paper ballots.
Unions are involved too. They shove lots and lots of money inside these campaigns.
Oh, unions are PACs. Richard, thank you for coming.
Yep.
William, I think we've had a show, don't you?
Yep.
We've got another one coming up soon.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, I just want to add where we were talking about. We were talking about the Oregon Ethics Commission's legal defense fund.
Trust
fund.
Yeah, but come on.
And that is also no limit to the amount of donations. And I don't know, it's not in the statutes, but I'm going to find out by making a request for public records if the identity of the donors is available. I suspect it is, but like I said, there's always somebody else behind the person who's making the moves. So I'm going to find out. Okay. Thank you.
They do not want to let go of this. They do not intend on losing here. And we do not intend giving it back to them.
And then the bullets started flying, and then he jumps out of the car, and he's got both his hands up.
And he got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, just shoot me then. This is what you want, to shoot me. And they did. They shot him dead. With his hands in the air, and I saw it. I swear to God. He was just walking with his hands in the air. And they shot him. And they shot him dead, and then after he was down on the ground, they shot him 3 more times.